So in my last video, I talked about climate change and ways to stop it. In this video, I will be covering topics like the challenge of human-induced climate change, from Kyoto to Copenhagen Protocol, Earth's energy balance, greenhouse gases, and relentless rise of carbon dioxide. So what exactly are we referring to in this video? What's the main idea? You probably heard it before, and you probably heard it on television. You probably have heard me talking about it in the earlier videos as well. And yes, you're right, it's climate change. So what makes this fate come true? Is climate change easy to fight with, or is it terrifying to fight with? Well, we're going to be looking at ways to stop climate change later on. First, let's compare. You might think it's easy to stop climate change because it's just a normal crisis. But can I tell you what? It's equally terrifying because climate change affects our future. It's going to affect our present and future as well. So it's kind of a deadly crisis, which is not like other normal crises, you can say. So what's happening right now is humans are fighting era of human-induced climate change. The fight will go on and it will continue for like decades and centuries until climate change comes to an end, which we hope will happen, because if it doesn't, then we will be a part of mass extinction. Okay, now we have looked at the comparison. We have looked at what is climate change. The next question is how to stop climate change. Well, to stop climate change, humans and organizations have introduced protocols. They have introduced treaties, they have introduced plans and many other global funds which helped and which tend to stop climate change. In this video, we are particularly going to be focusing on protocols. So protocols have one thing in common. They are all based on world issues. So you can have a protocol for air pollution, you can have a protocol for space dust, and you can have protocol of any issue that affects our world. And that's why protocols are also a useful way to fight a crisis. So there are two popular protocols we have seen throughout the climate change history, and the names are Kyoto and Copenhagen Protocol. There are way more protocols that I'm not going to be covering because they didn't succeed or they didn't get that much attention. So these two popular protocols got attention, and then they helped a lot in the fight of climate change. First, let's look at Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol was formed on December 11th, 1997. And you probably guessed it by now, it was the time of Industrial Revolution. And that's probably why everyone adopted this protocol. Because of the Industrial Revolution, the greenhouse gases were too much, and because of that, people from around the world gathered up and made this protocol especially to put our greenhouse gas levels down, so we experience less exposure of climate change. Everyone adopted this protocol except United States. And I don't know why, but United States did not adopt Kyoto Protocol. If they did, then we could have reduced 10% of our current greenhouse gas emissions in the world, which could have been a huge difference because every single percent counts. You can have a country which is contributing 2% and still they will be contributing a lot. And that's why United Nations didn't take part in this amazing protocol. I don't know why, because people are more interested, people of the United States are more interested in themselves. So you can say that United Nations are basically more selfish. They don't want to spend their money on crisis which is going to save us. They want to spend money on themselves and grow their industrial and economy, which is the opposite of what we are doing right now. And people are still trying to convince United States to take the protocol. And the fact is that the protocol didn't even get to the Senate. It didn't even get to the Parliament. People rejected it by its name. So the debates are still going on in the United States, and more than likely people are not going to adopt this protocol, because then we introduce another protocol. We'll talk about it later. So what happens is, every time something good happens, the richest used to stop it. I don't know why, but because they stop it, we can't make any progress, and we stay on that position for a long time. So you might be thinking now, if United States, one of the most developed societies, didn't adopt this protocol, what happened next? Did we make any progress? What about the rest of the world? And I can tell you the truth, we did make some progress. Even though United Nations didn't take part in Kyoto, we moved on from Kyoto Protocol to Copenhagen Protocol. And because of Copenhagen Protocol, United Nations had to adopt this protocol. So you might be wondering what Copenhagen Protocol is. Well, Copenhagen Protocol is similar to Kyoto Protocol, except it has more specified aims and goals to stop climate change. So we can say that Copenhagen is Kyoto Protocol, and this time the United Nations had to adopt it. Okay, now we know what are the protocols and how they work. Let's look at some major causes of global warming and climate change. Earth's energy balance. When Earth's energy balance goes down, then we face disasters. We face catastrophic disasters, cyclones, floods, and a lot of those. How does this happen? Well, Earth has a mixture of all the gases to run itself. So you can have an atmosphere of nitrogen, carbon dioxide, oxygen, and other gases all mixed together, making the Earth sustain itself. And because if we have more exposure of a single gas, like you have 50% exposure of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and less exposure of other gases, then Earth's energy balance tend to be called imbalance. And if it go imbalance, then we face disasters, and it soon becomes a crisis. Earth's energy balance is totally under control if we have our greenhouse gas emissions level down. If our greenhouse gases level go up, then Earth's energy balance is no more stable. When you look at United Nations energy plan, you'll exactly know why are we facing climate change. Because 80% of the economy and industrialization depends on burning coal. It depends on burning fossil fuels, which, if we burn fossil fuels, then we have increasing amounts of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere, which is actually opposite of what we want to do. So United Nations should think about it and stop using fossil fuels for the sake of the world. Okay, now we know about Earth's energy balance. Let's move on to top 2 greenhouse gas emissions. top two greenhouse gases? Well, there are many greenhouse gases in particular, but these two are the most important ones, and because they are the important ones, they play a huge role in contributing to global warming and climate change. So let's look at them. The first one I'm going to be talking about is carbon dioxide. It's the most common gas in greenhouse gas criteria. Greenhouse gases tend to not stop climate change. They tend to work more on global warming. So if we want to stop global warming, then we have to stop getting those emissions level up. We have to bring them down. And because if we burn fossil fuels, then of course deadly gases like carbon dioxide are the main causes of climate change. And carbon dioxide has the most amount of exposure in the whole greenhouse gas emissions we are seeing right now. So you can say that carbon dioxide is the most deadliest greenhouse gases we are known to humans. After this, we have a set of greenhouse gases. The set of greenhouse gases, harmful greenhouse gases like nitrogen oxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and all those greenhouse gases. And all of these gases come into one top criteria. It's industrial waste. During the time of Industrial Revolution, there was a lot of waste, and the waste was ejected either in the air or either in the ocean. The waste that was injected in the air consists of gases which we have talked before, like nitrous oxide and methane. And that's why industrial waste is another huge part of global warming. So what we learned? We learned that carbon dioxide is the most deadliest greenhouse gas in the whole world, and industrial waste is actually the biggest problem we have to control the greenhouse gas emissions level going up. So we have looked at greenhouse energy system, we have looked at greenhouse gases. So what's our aim now? Well, our aim as the whole world is to stop burning fossil fuels and move to other renewable energies like solar, wind, and hydroelectric plants, which don't depend on fossil fuels like coal and oil. If we focus on fossil fuels and start bringing most fossil fuels in order to grow our economy, then we will increase our greenhouse gas emissions a lot. And if it gets to a certain point, then we won't be able to bring it back because our energy balance is way too off balance. Okay, so it only gets worse if we wait. So any issue can turn into a crisis. Any issue, like you can have a drought issue that can turn into a big issue like a drought for decades and for centuries. And most of the disasters that happens are deadly. So we need to focus on greenhouse gas emissions. We have to focus on fossil fuels in order to stop climate change. So at the end of this video, we finally have two choices. One is to stop burning fossil fuels and bring those emissions level down, or be a part of a mass extinction, which is going to happen eventually if we don't fight. Okay guys, this is it for this video, and I'm going to be making a part 2 of this series. In the next video, we will be continuing on climate change and negotiations. Thank you.